So evidently, R-Truth, if you're a wrestling fan, was released by the WWE. Some people feel like Truth was doing an April Fool's joke on June 1st because Truth does some comical things. But it seems like from the wrestling outlets, Truth was actually released. And it kind of makes sense because recently he had this semi kind of, not big, but semi popular storyline with John Cena. And he got the Truth got the headline, Saturday Night Main Event. And it's like, oh, maybe they're kind of giving Truth a solid now. Like maybe they're trying to rebrand Truth a little bit. And it was like actually pretty good with him and Cena. And now Truth allegedly is gone. Um, Listen, I love Ron, who's our Truth. Like Ron's been around forever. I think Ron used to hang out with NWA or or Easy E back in the day. Like Ron's been around for a long time, and he's a fun guy, really good wrestler. I think he would be an excellent wrestling coach. I think he would have an excellent wrestling school. Um, I think the only problem I had with our Truth at times, especially when Vince was there, was that sometimes it was kind of coonish type stuff. But he's almost like a lovable coon. It's not knocking our Truth at all. I think the man is actually a talented wrestler. He just kind of felt like, well, this is the character I got to play, and if I want to last in this industry, this is the character I'm going to have to play. And yeah, at times it's kind of coonish, but I liked what they was doing with Truth over the past year. The past year they had him with the Judgment Day, and that was fun. That was fun, and that was interesting. Um, and I think they had him with the Miz, and that was okay. But then things came back around with the stuff with Cena, and I actually thought that maybe long term Truth would be circling Cena in some way to kind of get Cena to get back to the person that he was. But evidently Triple H released them. So I'm not I'm not sure what Triple H is doing right now. Like when Triple H first took over the brand after Vince McMahon was bounced out, Triple H did a lot of good things. I think behind the scenes, he probably did a lot of good things for the wrestlers. He brought up people from NXT who are still being successful today. Triple H did a lot. He made people champions that you didn't think would have a shot. So Triple H did a lot of really good things. But I'm reminded of something that Swerve Strickland, who wrestles at AEW and is a former WWE wrestler, he said something about Triple H in an interview a long time ago. And so when Swerve was in NXT, he said, you kind of know who was a Triple H guy and who wasn't a Triple H guy. And Swerve wasn't. And Swerve got frustrated and he went to Shawn Michaels because Shawn Michaels is in charge of NXT. Because I guess he heard that, it's hard to talk to Shawn, and Swerve went in and talked to Shawn and he started watching videos and all that stuff. And, Shawn was great. Shawn Michaels was great with Swerve Strickland. And that's the thing. I think Shawn Michaels, of Triple H and Shawn Michaels seems to be the more nurturing of the wrestlers. He seems to be the more fair um, boss of the wrestlers, so to speak. And I often wondered if Triple H was just doing the business stuff, like Triple H would handle the marketing, all the nuts and bolts of the company, all that stuff at the headquarters. I wonder what Raw and SmackDown would be like if Shawn Michaels would be in charge. Not to say it would be any different, but I think for some odd reason, I think Shawn got a better eye for talent. I think Shawn has a better way of communicating with the wrestlers, either good or bad. And I'm not saying that Triple H doesn't talk to people, but I think, like Swerve said, if you are a Triple H person, I think you're going to be pushed. I think you will be highlighted. I think you can talk to him. But I think if you're not, you end up getting released and you don't know why. Like Katana Chance, she was critical of Triple H after she was released. And again, this happens all the time when wrestlers they get released. But the one narrative that keeps on popping up over and over is people feel like they never really feel like they had a shot. You see it down in NXT, where Shotzi and GiGi Dolin was with Tatum Paxley, and they created a faction, and that faction was actually working. And all of a sudden, GiGi and Shotzi are gone. Like that didn't really make sense. So you got to start wondering what is Triple H? What is his philosophy when he makes these types of moves? MVP, who was with the WWE, with Bobby Lashley when they had the Hurt Business, and now he's with AEW with Bob. MVP has always been critical of H, kind of alluding to some prejudicial type things. I can't confirm that or not. Triple H says it's not true. But, the Hurt Business with WWE was great. They were a great faction. It was an all-black faction. It was a great faction. It was working. And then they would just put on, they were just kind of, they was dissolved. And Bobby Lashley wasn't a top guy anymore. And no one knew why. Now they got the Hurt Syndicate in AEW. And they're going great guns. I still think the Hurt business was better. But I think that the Hurt Syndicate has actually been pretty good over at AEW. So it just, I don't know if there's even though maybe there's an unconscious bias that maybe Triple H has with black wrestlers sometimes, with black male wrestlers. I don't know. I think sometimes, I think Triple H, just like Vince McMahon had this thing where his favorite wrestlers was just guys who were big, just big wrestlers. And he sometimes looked past the shorter guys, like someone like Daniel Bryan. I don't think Vince believed that Daniel Bryan could have been a champion, but the people pushed Daniel Bryan up, just like the people pushed Kofi Kingston up, right? The people sometimes dictated, no, like we like this person, like Becky Lynch. Like Becky Lynch wasn't someone I think that Vince was really into. But once she blew her nose, the people kind of pushed Becky forward, right? I'm not sure. It's hard to criticize Triple H because he's done a lot of good things when he first took over, but I think he's making some questionable moves. Now, R-Truth being let go is not going to change the dynamics of WWE at all, right? It's not. Truth was comic relief, and Truth was a lovable character. So it's not that like they're going to miss him from storyline purposes, but I do think Truth could have still been an ambassador for WWE. Truth still could have been like a coach on NXT. Like Truth could still pop up now and then, maybe take a slight pay cut, because I don't think Truth was getting paid big guns salary wise, but Truth still could have popped up once in a while on Raw and SmackDown, but been a coach at NXT, and also be an ambassador because people love Truth. There's so many things they could have done with Ron, but I don't quite. At this point, I'm not sure what Triple H is doing overall. And for the first time since he's taken over, he's taken a lot of hits. So I think if you're Hunter, I think you might have to actually sit down for an interview, because I think a lot of wrestling fans has questions. It's not just about R-Truth. It's just a lot of moves. Like how come, like Carmelo Hayes. Like Carmelo Hayes he went from NXT to the main roster like over a year. And wrestling wise, if you watch his matches, he's almost like Gunther. Like he's put on some really good matches. But Gunther was able to create like a really good character and all that stuff. And Gunther has had underrated storylines throughout. But I don't think Carmelo Hayes has been given that same opportunity. He's a good-looking dude. He can really wrestle. He's very entertaining as a wrestler. But for some odd reason, when it comes to character development, Carmelo Hayes is in the same spot he was last year this time. They got him with The Miz right now. But again, at this point, Carmelo Hayes should be considered for at least contending for a championship. At least Carmelo Hayes should at least been in Money in the Bank at this point. Even if he didn't win Money in the Bank, he should at least be one of the wrestlers involved with that, to get a taste of what it's like. So what do you guys think? If you're a WWE fan, if you're a Triple H fan, if you're a R-Truth fan, if you're a Shawn Michaels fan or an NXT fan, what do you think about Shawn? Is he a better with wrestlers than Triple H? What do you think about Triple H? Do you think Triple H is doing a great job? Or do you think that, Triple H is kind of showing his inner Vince by making some decisions that doesn't quite make much sense? It has nothing to do with R-Truth, but just overall, like the decision making is quite questionable. At least with Vince McMahon, you kind of knew that Vince was kind of crazy. But with Triple H, I don't know what the deal is.